Hey there everyone, welcome to my third tutorial video, and this one is for the song Reminiscence from Suikoden II. This song comes as a special request from RandyH524, who made a small contribution, and now I'm making the tutorial video for him. There's also a cover video that I made for this very song. While learning it so that I can make this tutorial video, I just kind of got really into it, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do a cover because this song is dope. And this song is dope. Before we get ahead of ourselves, let me just say, this song is entirely played on piano. So we're taking a song that was written on piano and transposing it to guitar. So for those who are familiar with the original, there are gonna be some parts that we can't physically play. During those parts, we're gonna find ways around them, and we're just gonna pick like the key notes that are perhaps like the dominant notes in those melodies or in those patterns. But for the most part, this song is very easy to transpose. It has a lot of reoccurring themes that every time they come back around, they change just a little bit. So we're not gonna be able to just go section 1, section 2, section 3 like we did in the other tutorials. This is gonna be a long running video. So I'm gonna put timestamps down in the video description, letting you know what section of the song you can jump to by clicking on it, like seconds 1 through 20 or 1 through 40. It's only 2 minutes and 20 seconds long, but since it never repeats, I'm just gonna go by time frame in the video description. Anyway, enough talk, let's just jump into it. So one of the things to remember about this song is that it's in 6/4. So every section we go over, you want to count 6 before transitioning to the next one. Let's go ahead and pull up the tabs for those first few parts, and I'm just going to go ahead and play through them for you, and then we'll break them down. And so let's go ahead and take a look at what we did there. We have an A sharp type chord, or B flat. And what we're doing is we're lowering the root between a whole step and a half step. So we start off with this initial pattern with our pinky in the 13th fret of the A, middle finger in the 11th fret of the D, and index finger in the 10th fret of the G. And I'm playing a classical style, I'm playing a finger pick style. If you want to use a pick, you can, and you can alternate pick it to go through it, but I found it appropriate to play it classical. So let me just go ahead and walk you through this part nice and slow. After that, we lift our pinky and we go ahead, we move our middle finger up to the 11th fret on the A. We place our ring finger on the D right underneath it. Keep our index finger where it is on the 10th fret. Now we're going to change it again. Your ring finger can stay where it is. Move your index finger to the 9th fret of the A and your middle finger to the 10th fret of the G, and you go. Now here comes the first of a few stretches. Your index finger is the only finger that moves, and it comes down to here. Now it's not much of a stretch. There are plenty of chords that span 4 frets, so for a lot of you this will probably not be that big of a deal. The next part, we come over to here. We have again we have an E flat chord, and we're gonna be barring the 6th fret so that our index finger covers the A and G string, where our ring finger is in the 8th fret of the D, and we're gonna go kind of rotate between the D and the G string as we have been for this section. Move up a whole step for now an F chord. These are really 7 chords. Anyway, so, and then once we're done with that, we're gonna come up to the 13th fret. This minor chord is now very major, and we're gonna go. So one of the things we're doing there, to start off, our index finger will be in the 10th fret, but your ring and pinky will be in the 13th fret of the A and the D. Excuse me, your index finger will be in the 10th fret of the G, and you'll be going. Then you'll lift your pinky and place your middle finger on the 12th fret of the D, going. So from there, we go into the next section where, if you haven't noticed, I had to like move my chair and move some stuff around in my room just so we could get my full guitar in the shot. This is the first of many times where a pattern repeats and there's a slight change. So we go back to that B flat chord with our pinky in the 13th fret of the A, middle finger in the 11th fret of the D, and index finger in the 10th fret of the G, and we play the following. And so we see where there are small differences. The first difference we find is after going, instead of just moving down our root to the F and going, we instead play this F7. And then we continue to the E flat. And then we come all the way down here for this low F. Moving on to the next part, we have the following. Now I'm going to stop there just to recap. We have our E flat chord again, followed by our F, followed by an F sharp, followed by followed by an A flat. Then we go back to that E flat, then back to the F, and we're not going to do the repeat that we've been doing with our index middle. We're just going to go, before we move on to the next section, which in my opinion on guitar is probably one of the most troubling parts. Let's go ahead and take a look. We almost have to bar down here. There's really no option to get around this. So we come back down to the first fret, and we're doing something very interesting here. I'll bring my hand a little closer. We're going, which is what we did before, but now we're raising the root and the octave, then switching back, before switching back again, giving us a total of I find it easier to just realign my fingers a little bit when I do it, because obviously I have to do some switching if I want to get into those positions. And you'll see in the cover that I did of this song as well, that's what I do when I come to this section. So once we're done with that F and F sharp madness down below on the first fret, we can come up to the 6th fret or to B flat, and we can move on to the next part. Ugh, that stretch. Okay, so you have your B flat bar chord here. You have to lower your root then a whole step. And these are the notes they play. So there's kind of no way around this one. But once you're done, you move down to F sharp. And you'll be bringing down your octave to the major 7th. So it's a bit of a reprieve from the ridiculousness that you were just doing. And then you have your F7 here. Then we come up to this section. Now this is that old E flat and F that we're so familiar with before coming back to B flat here and going. That part is very straightforward. And then we get a little bit of a reprisal here of something that we are once again familiar with. This is right before yet another change, but we got a nice breath of fresh air there, and we were able to play something that we've already done before, almost verbatim. Now comes the next part. We're going to go ahead and make ourselves a nice B flat minor chord here. And if you're having trouble barring, don't worry, because you're not going to keep this bar forever. You will continue to bar, but it's not going to be impossible. We're going to go. So what you're doing there is first you're going through your E, A, and D string. Straightforward enough. Before moving your index finger down, you can probably bar the G, B, and E string if you feel comfortable. You're next going to go through your A, D, G, and B string before going through your D, G, and B string for a total of then we move up to the C chord, and it's a doozy, but we're not going to stay there forever. In fact, you're not really going to be doing much barring at the second chord at all, but you will be doing a lot of moving around. I'm just going to show you how it plays first. I had to do that take a lot when I was recording the cover. It's definitely harder than the first pattern. First, we're just going to go through our E, A, and D string. Simple enough. Then we'll move down. We're no longer barring anymore because we have to move our index finger pretty quickly. We're going to hit the A, then the D, move your index finger to the 8th fret on the G, and you can either hit this G string twice or hammer on. I hit it twice. So far we have after that we come back to the D and we go and we repeat the last 3 notes of that pattern before jumping up the octave to the 13th fret on the B and going. So 13 on the B with your ring, 11 on the high E with your index, and 13 on the high E with your ring, giving you a total of and that's part 1 of the first half of the song. Let's move on to the melody that accompanies it. Okay, so glad you're still with me. Let's talk about the second melody that plays over in the first half of the song. It's a little bit more straightforward and definitely won't be as long of a part of the video. So we start here on the 6th fret of the G string. We come in after that initial major part where we went. That's when this melody comes in. So we're starting on the 6th fret of the G string, and we're going to start with our middle finger. And I'm going to go ahead and just play it for you first just to flesh it out. So pretty basic minor pattern. We're starting on the 6th fret of the G string with our middle. Then we're doing a 1, 2, 4 pattern, or across the 5th, 6th, and 8th fret. Down to the 6th fret on the B. Then to the 7th fret on the B with our ring finger. Before jumping back to the 8th fret on the G with our pinky. And then walking down to the 6th and 5th fret on the G before coming to the 8th fret on the D. And then jumping back to the 5th fret on the D, to the 6th, to the 5th, to the 8th on the D, to the 6th on the D, and then to the 8th, giving us a total of after that, we move on to the next part, which sounds like this. Once again, we're starting on the 6th fret of the G, down to the 5th. Now we're jumping to the 8th fret on the D with our pinky, down to the 6th with our middle finger. So far we've got. Then we jump back to the 6th fret on the G with our middle, to the 6th fret on the B, then back to the 8th fret on the G, to the 5th with our index finger, before going back to the 8th fret on the D with our pinky, to the 5th fret on the G with our index, to the 6th fret with our middle, to the 5th fret with our index, to the 8th fret with our pinky, then finally to the 6th fret on the D, and then to the 8th fret on the D with our pinky, giving us a total of Now coming up is the part that sounds really fast, and in all fairness, it is really fast. But as far as being a complicated pattern, it is not. It is a B flat minor scale played really, really fast. Now, the way I did it in the cover was entirely legato. You can see the charts down below. It's not anything terribly difficult. It's just really, really fast. So while I'm not going to show you how to do it really, really fast, you can watch the cover to see how I do it. I just kind of do it legato. In this, for the sake of this tutorial, we're just going to walk through the pattern, and I'm just going to show you the easiest way to play it so that if you're already a fast player, you can get through the pattern the easiest, in my opinion, this way. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. We're starting on the 6th fret. And again, it's just a B flat minor scale. So it's except that we're ending on C sharp instead of B flat. So we're ending on the minor third. All right. So let's go ahead and walk through that. We'll be starting on the 6th fret of our E and going 6, 8, 9. Then to the 6th fret on the A and going once again 6, 8, 9. Now the way I learned the minor scale was, and originally when I did this, I went, which technically works, but I found it a little bit easier that once I got done with the A string part of the pattern, to instead just go to the D and jump up the half step jump up the whole step and take care of that C here on the 10th fret of the D, and then move on to the G string and do the exact same pattern. Then move this shape where I'm jumping a whole step with each note up a half step on the B string, and then when I get to the high E string, just go C, C sharp, or 8, 9, giving us a total of, and now we move on to the last part of this melody within the song. Once we hit that 9th fret, we're going to come back down to the 6th fret on the G and go. So familiar territory. We've done this pattern before. Now the next part has a change in it. Hooray, more changes. I'll just show you how it goes first. Just kind of walk you through it. Now, those last two chords can tend to sound like nails on a chalkboard. Just to keep in mind, I could do with a string change in a setup, so maybe my guitar doesn't sound that great. However, those are the chords that they play on piano in the song. So for the sake of sticking to the original, I decided to do them verbatim here. So let's go ahead and walk through that second part. First, you'll be doing a nice C sharp major chord. I mean, it is nice. So you hit that first, and then you walk back. So 8th fret on the E with your ring, 6th on the E with your index, and 9th on the B with your pinky. Then you're going to jump up to the 9th fret on the high E, and you're going to go 9, 11, 13, 11, 13 on the B, before doing a 1, 3, 4 pattern here, starting on the 11th fret of the B and going. Then down to the 11th fret on the high E. And then after that, you're going to play this chord, which will have you pressing down on the 13th fret of the G and barring the 16th fret across the B and the E with your pinky. Then you move it up a whole step. And this is playing over the final part of the first pattern. And so you do those chords while the other while the other piano part is going. You would play, and while the second guitar is going, you would play, and all right, now on to the final part of this song. Before we go any further, one, I want to thank you for making it this far into the video. You are very dedicated to this song. In all fairness, this song rules, so I don't blame you for wanting to learn all of it and sticking it out. If I sound tired, it's because I am. It's because I'm very tired. But hey, you didn't make it this far into the video to hear me complain about how tired I am. So, once we get past that initial part of the song, we're a little bit past the halfway point. The song slows down, and we have a series of parts that involve a lot of piano chords. We can't replicate them all on guitar. So I took the most dominant melodies or notes within each large chord or just chord that was too big for guitar and made them work for guitar. So if you have bigger hands than me, which, I mean, God bless you if you do, because I don't have small hands, and you're able to do those wacky chords, hats off to you. So let's go ahead and jump in. This first pattern takes place on the 6th fret. I'll show you first. This is probably the easiest out of the patterns you're about to play. Despite the fact that it's a stretch between the 6th fret and the 10th fret, it's really not that difficult to play. You just have to be a little bit quick with the hammer on. So we'll go ahead and slow it down. You hit the 6th fret of the E or that B flat, hammer on to the 9th fret or C sharp, move to the 8th fret on the A with your middle finger, to the 10th fret on the D with your pinky, and then down to the 6th fret on the D with your index. And then you come up to the 6th fret and you go. You can hammer on or you can pick those parts. Now I know I hit the 6th fret twice earlier. That's how I do it in my cover, so I apologize for the coloring there. So we just go and then roll down to the 8th fret on the D, giving us a total of... The following pattern takes place in the 8th fret of the A. Originally, it sounded like it was all the way down here in the 1st fret. But for the sake of just making these patterns a little bit easier to play, I chose to do this one in the 8th fret of the A, I should say. So this one goes. So let's go ahead and walk through that, because if you're looking at this chord the way I looked at this chord the first time I made it, you're discouraged, or you're at least confused. So we're hammering on from the F to the A flat, rolling to the 11th fret on the D, then to the 10th fret on the G, back to the 11th fret on the D, or the D flat. Then we're hitting that 8th fret and hammering on to the 11th fret again. And again, I know I hit it twice. That's the coloring that I did in my cover. I apologize once again. And then we go into this chord. If you can believe it, this chord is one of the smaller middle fingers this song gives you when you're trying to learn it on guitar and transpose it from piano. You just put your middle finger in the 8th fret of the A, your index finger in the 6th fret of the D, and your pinky finger in the 10th fret of the G for a type of F chord where you are playing F. Where you are playing F, A flat, and then F again. So you have your octave, you just have this A flat all the way down here just being like, hey, I'm going to make your life hard. Now in the original song, from here, it would go in the 9th fret. So you'd go from C sharp to F sharp before moving on to the next pattern, which is actually relatively close by. It starts in the 6th fret of the A, and you go... So let's go ahead and walk through that. So again, we're just hammering on whole step and a half from the 6th fret of the A or from E flat to F sharp. Moving down to the 8th fret on the D. So A sharp, and then moving to the 6th fret on the G. Back to the 8th fret on the D. Now here we do hit the 6th fret twice before hammering on, or rather we hit the 6th fret once before hitting it again to hammer onto the 8th. Then we go to the 6th fret on the G, to the 5th fret on the G, and then we come up here, place your ring finger on the 12th fret of the A, middle finger on the 11th fret of the D, and index finger on the 10th fret of the G, and you go. Before complementing this by going to the 13th fret of the A, then to the 16th fret of the D, then to the 15th fret of the D. Moving on. This is still going. I'm sorry I'm complaining so much about this. I'm not trying to complain. I love this song. I love learning it. Thank you, Randy H524, for giving me the opportunity to learn it. But woof, what a song. So we're in the home stretch now. We come back to that B flat pattern, and it's it's exactly the same for once. All right. Sorry. I'm watching a lot of Bob's Burgers lately. Okay, so we go to the 8th fret of the A, and we're going to do a similar pattern, but this time it's a little bit inverted. Just kind of flipped around. And so what we're doing there is we are hitting the 8th fret on the A before moving to the 8th fret on the D, hammering onto the 11th fret of the D, then moving on to the 10th fret of the G, then going to the 11th fret of the D again, then back to the 8th fret of the D, before making these chords. These chords are not that bad. It's just kind of hard to go into them quickly, so I'm not going to do it for the tutorial. Once you go to that 8th fret on the D, to transition quickly, get your middle finger into the 11th fret of the D, index tucked behind it into the 10th fret of the G, stretch your pinky out to the 14th fret of the B, and just play those 3 strings. Then move it back a half step and down a string each. So now your middle finger will be in the 10th fret of the G, index on the 9th fret of the B, and pinky onto the 13th fret of the high E. Now in the song, after this chord, it comes up to the 14th fret of the B and the E and goes before transitioning to the next part. So feel free to integrate that part. Now we go to the 6th fret of the A, and it's a straightforward repeat, well, for a bit, of the pattern that we did here before. Here's the difference. We play an F chord. And so once again, we're hammering onto the 9th fret of the A from the 6th fret, moving to the 8th on the D, to the 6th fret on the G, back to the 8th fret on the D, back to the 6th fret on the D with our index finger, then hitting it again before hammering onto the 8th. Oh, sorry. Then to the 6th fret on the G, 5th fret on the G, before moving up, barring the 8th fret, having your index finger run across the 8th fret of the A and D, ring finger on the 10th fret of the G, and pinky on the 11th fret of the B. Now in the song, they go before transitioning into the next part. What I did in the cover was I went and then just moved on because it's a lot of stuff, you guys. Now, we're just about done. This next part is super cool, but it is a stretch. I'm going to go ahead and play it for you first. Bit of a stronger finish there. So you're coming down to F sharp, and you're basically making your way through an F sharp major chord with this added, with this added A flat, just all the way up here. So this is repetitive, and yes, it is a stretch. Stretching from the 2nd fret to the 6th fret is definitely more of a chore than if we were to do it up here and stretch from the 19th fret to the 13th fret. But doing it here just doesn't sound as good. We have our index finger in the 2nd fret of the E, ring finger into the 4th fret of the A, pinky into the 6th fret of the D, and we are going before changing gears and going 2, 4, 3 on the G, back to the 4 on the A, ultimately giving us, and that repeats 4 times. Now, for those familiar with the ending of this song, you will know that this F sharp major doesn't fit. However, the chord that does fit is a little bit harder to transition into. It's this. This is the chord shape. Either you'll have your index finger barring the 2nd fret with your middle and ring on the 3rd fret of the D and the G, and your pinky on the 4th fret of the A, giving you that. Or you'll have your middle finger rolled onto the G string from the D string, your index finger barring the 2nd fret with your ring finger on the 4th fret of the A, and you'll get that. Thank you so much for watching, everybody, and I hope that my curmudgeon-y attitude during the video was not a huge turnoff for you. I am preparing for a lot of stuff coming up before the end of the year, and but I really wanted to get this request done. Randy H524, big shout out to you for recommending the song and your small contribution. It's been really cool meeting you and talking to you, and I was happy to do it. And if you want to be like Randy H524 and get a song of yours covered, taught, or both on this channel, hit me up, and you can either sign up to be a Patreon for as little as $1 a month. You can just literally DM me and be like, Dave, do this thing, and I'd be like, yeah, all right, okay. Or you can just make a one-time contribution to my Venmo, which I'll post in the video description below. And if you liked what you saw, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. As I mentioned throughout the video, I also did a cover of this song, and I took some creative liberties with it. I hope it doesn't turn anyone away, but I thought it was cool. I enjoyed it. So that is also in a pinned comment down below, as well as in the video description. And in that pinned comment, there is also a poll for people who don't wish to become patrons. I posted one in the last video, and I don't think anyone saw it. So I'm going to post it again with the same choices. And if you guys are interested in voting on it, just comment on that comment or comment below in the comment section, and I'll see it. And whichever choice has the most votes, I'm going to do the tutorial on that one next. All right. I will see you all next video, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend.